When it comes to building any sort of combat robot, well, there gets to a point where you got to deal with all sorts of little tiny details. Regardless of whatever your big conceptual idea of how your robot's supposed to work or what's going to happen, well, there's just going to be lots of stupid crap you have to deal with. And that is what we're going to be talking about today as I continue the work on Microflash Delta, my 3-pound combat robot. I'm Jason, the creator of Team Rocket Robotics, and well, let's get started. So in the previous episode of this build log, I did pretty much a total redesign of Microflash Delta in order to get him in a 12-inch by 12-inch cube. And of course, with any kind of major redesign, as I suggested in the intro, well, there's going to be a lot of details and other problems you got to solve. So I think we're going to run through today a number of those problems and hopefully at least get them sorted out. But let's see what we got going on here first. So let's get Microflash Delta down on his stand. And I think what I'm going to work with here, if I spin the robot to the back, originally, when it came to attaching the armor for the back of the robot, there's going to be 2 attachment points right here where these bolts are, and that was really about it, which frankly isn't enough. So what I'm going to end up doing is putting some sort of spacers in here between the structure and the armor. That's going to give me some more anchor points to where I can hold the back armor on to the structure a little bit, as well as attach the wheel bumpers there. Plus, if you notice, the side armor are kind of buckling in a little bit just because the virtue of this bolt is pulling them together. So any kind of spacer right here will also kind of keep the side armor in the right spot. So to start that process, let's jump over to Blender and model something up. And we're back from Blender, back from 3D printing, and oh look, the parts are already sitting right over here. It's almost as if I did this out of order for convenience of filming. So new rear structure pieces are in place. According to the math, this should add about 9 grams to the weight of the robot, which isn't a big deal. I'm still underweight at the moment according to my math chart, but we'll see when I'm done with all this part of the build process. So in the last episode of the video, I went ahead and I kept track of all the bolts and screws I assembled together. Now I'm going to go back, figure out how much all those weigh, and therefore I can get a nice accurate measurement of this portion of the robot's weight. When it comes to measuring the mass of these bolts themselves, they're often kind of light to where they may be 1.25, 1.5 grams, and those 0.25 decimal grams, that can add up pretty quickly when you have a lot of them in here. So don't try to measure the mass of one bolt at a time. Put like 4 of them on the scale, figure out an average, and use that for your calculations. All the different bolt types are calculated. Let's add some things up here, and oh dear goodness. 20, 35, 41, 49, 59, 61, 70 grams. Oh my goodness. That out of the way, we can move on to the next wonderfully fun topic. Let me flash back to the last episode and just do a little bit of a quick reminder as to one of the things that went wrong with the bottom structure. So I have the motor mounts here. Here's the first screw up. It turns out that this one section of the motor mount here, which is supposed to, bolt down to the base, is lined up perfectly with this support of the aluminum piece. As you saw right there, when I went to assemble it, the bottom structure didn't quite fit in the motor mounts. Well, when I was editing the episode, I discovered something during my Blender modeling time that's kind of important to this process. You should take a look at it right now. Here's a bit of a problem. I must have moved the motors, so now the motor mount bolt hole is going right through the frame. I should be able to fix that one fairly easily though. These parts of the frame, I should just be able to go and do something like that. So it seems that in the Blender process of modeling the new robot design, I realized this was a problem with the structure and proceeded to fix it. However, when I went to 3D print the test piece, I must have printed the top armor, or the top structure, which didn't have the fix applied to it, instead of the bottom piece. So, hence the mistake I carried on over to the build process. Stupid crap. So here we go. This is the new bottom 3D printed piece with the support brackets in the right spot, so they should work with the motor mounts. Let's get this installed and go from there. Also, it's going to be a fun experiment to see how difficult it is to replace the bottom structure without basically tearing the robot down. Now that is definitely a neat trick. Microflash Gamma could not replace the structure that way. I would have had to assemble the entire robot, and that would have been helpful in the last competition because, well, this bottom structure got just totally brutalized. Now let's find out if the new test piece fit where it's supposed to. I actually was able to replace the bottom structure without completely dismantling the robot. That's a design plus for you. Now the next step in this process is to clean up all the electronics in the back. More or less everything can fit, but it's not a good fit. So there's a couple things I want to do here to take care of that issue. First, I want to move the power switch. Right now it's right over here. I want to move it closer to this side to where the receiver is going to be. And what that's going to do is take a little bit of crowding away from where the battery is supposed to be. Power switch has been moved over. That's good. It's going to get some of the wires, like I said, away from the battery. Now the other wires that are currently in the way of the battery sitting nice and neatly over here are the drive motor wires. Now these drive motor wires, the length is based on Microflash Gamma. With Microflash Delta, it's a little bit of a different setup because there's actually more distance between the ESC and the drive motor in this version of the robot. And also, what I've got sitting over here that's probably going to be in the final robot is this is a little tray. You can see it's got a little bit of standoff, and the idea is this goes on the base of the robot. These various points line up with attachments for the battery as well as the receiver, and therefore a lot of the wiring can go below the receiver and the battery and kind of keep it locked away. So I actually need to expand the length of the wires that are attached to the motor so I can run them down along the base of the robot and over to the electronic speed control, and that'll get them out of the way. One new stupid crap thing I gotta deal with. By installing this little electronics tray down here in the bottom of the robot, you can see those holes line up, the big holes there. It's moved the receiver up, you know, about 1/8 of an inch because it's a tray that sits off the ground. And now the receiver mount is bumping into another bolt that it wasn't bumping into without the tray. So, oh my goodness. Bolt that it's bumping into is the one that's holding on the bearing cover over here. That's probably to just increase the size of the bearing cover a little bit, move it back, and just move that bolt back. So I think I'm going to go ahead and do that. Just stupid crap thing after stupid crap thing. That is probably the most annoying aspect of building one of these robots. That's the whole point of this video, is to show you all the annoying little things you have to deal with that you don't really think about. So, okay, just shaking my head, seriously, just shaking my head at all this. But I was going to modify the bearing covers anyway because I need to cut off a piece of them in order to attach the side bumpers that protect the wheels. So let's do that part right now. The goal here is to remove these two bolts off the bearing cover and cut this piece off, leaving only the 4 motor mount bolts as well as these 2 in the armor to hold on the bearing cover. The reason for that is there's simply not enough distance between the structure and the wheel, as you can see over here. If I wanted, oh, you can't see that. As you can see over here, if I wanted both the bearing cover as well as the wheel bumper, the bolts would be digging in to the tire itself. So therefore, that's why I need to cut the bearing cover away. All right, so also, in regards to the whole receiver mess I was talking about, is this bolt right here that I'm pulling out right now is the one that was interfering with the receiver mount. So what I'm going to also do, in addition to cutting this off, is extend this out maybe, you know, another 1/2 inch, so I can move this over about 1/2 inch and drill it through there, and that will allow me to affix the bearing cover to the armor while ignoring where the receiver mount is. The new bearing covers are done. Let's get this first one on the robot and see how well it works. The new bearing cover is on and appears to be working fine because, well, there isn't much to it. Next, though, is I need to get the wheel guards on. Now, I don't think I actually printed the back armor off. So right now it's just the rear structure. There's a little bit of a gap here as to where the armor would go. But I really don't think that's a terribly serious issue for this process because of the fact the UHMW guards are going to be a little bit flexible. So let's attach one of those and figure out the proper sizing for them. Which means I gotta take the wheel off that I just put on 30 seconds ago. Fantastic. The last thing I need to do is make sure you get all the electronics crammed in here. I know I was working on that earlier in this build process, but I got sidetracked because I had to do the bearing covers and the bolt was jammed out the receiver and all that fun stuff. So let's get back to that. There is one other thing I need to add as I was playing around here. What I've noticed, so the battery's right here. There is going to be a strap that kind of holds it down right where my fingers are at the moment. And I think that'll do a pretty good job of holding it in place, not 100% sure. What I'm concerned about is the battery can twist like that, which will bring this corner awfully close to the giant spinning mass that is the weapon motor. I want to make sure the battery can't do that. Now, conveniently, there is a hole in the base here. That was one of the possible locations for the battery strap. It ended up not being used for that, but it was still part of the model. So what I'm just simply going to do is run a bolt up through this hole, and that will kind of pin the battery, preventing it from moving closer to where the weapon motor is going to be. Let me think about cramming all the electronics in here. So I need to bring this structure piece back. And I think what I am going to be able to do, let me think about this. Let's bring all the wiring in here. We're just going to end up piling it. I'm just going to take the battery out. I need to keep this thing away. So this is obviously the battery connector right here. Everything else, I'm hoping I can kind of pile into the corner here somehow. I can put the battery into the robot, bend the power wires, slide it underneath the structure, because that seems like a fantastic idea, which in turn is going to put the battery connector right here, allow me to plug it in, and then the top can go right there and push the thing all down. Radio's got some power. Let's turn this thing on and see if it all still works after all my fiddling around. Well, that's all looking good, so we can call this episode of the build log done. Thank you guys all for watching. Once again, I'm Jason, the creator of Team Rocket Robotics. This has been a build log from Microflash Delta, my 3-pound combat robot here. And hopefully this gave you a pretty good idea of all the stupid little crap you have to deal with when building one of these things. This is probably the longest and most frustrating part of the build, but once you get through here and got all these problems sorted out, it's time to actually build this thing, and that's what we're going to be doing in the next upcoming episodes. We start finalizing the components, make sure all the weights that we want to, and then rebuild the new frame. That doesn't make any sense, does it? And build the new frame. So go ahead and hit subscribe here on YouTube to get those videos when they come out. Oh, and also at some point here, we gotta, make the weapon not suck, but That's a few episodes down the road. So anyway, once again, I'm Jason. Thank you guys all for watching. And go ahead and hit that subscribe button. I was about to tell you just a moment ago so you can get those build videos when they release, as well as other things related to combat robots, whether that be Battletech, Adeptus Titanicus, or some other random stuff that may have nothing to do with combat robots whatsoever. Because I still do that every now and then on this channel. So have a good week, and I will see you guys next week for whatever I'm happy to do, because I honestly don't know what's going to be going on with the next video at this time. So thank you guys all for watching.